Hi, my name is Lauren Poulos and I'm from the Aboriginal Health and Ageing team at NURA. This short video is on the Let's Chat Dementia Health Promotion and Risk Factors. So I'm just going to hand you over to Uncle Terry, who's going to do a welcome to country.
Hello, my name is Terry Donovan. I'm a Gumbaynggirr Birrapai man from the mid-north coast of New South Wales. I'm also a member of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Governance Guidance Group for the Let's Chat Dementia program. And I would like to begin by paying my respects to the local Aboriginal people whose country we are meeting on today, and I extend that respect to your elders and ancestors who have guided us through times of turbulence and change. And our ancestors have cared for this land from the time of creation, and I strive to live our culture every day.
This video is part of the Let's Chat Dementia project, which is partnering with your service to help improve care for people living with dementia and their carers. If you want to yarn to us about dementia or find out more about the project, please get in contact with us. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers, please be aware that the following presentation may contain images and voices of deceased persons. We do not have a cure for dementia, but research shows that the best thing we can do to reduce the possibility of developing dementia is to look after ourselves physically, emotionally, and mentally. This is aging well by living well. This is a life course approach to dementia prevention. There are things we can focus on at every stage of life, from birth through to old age, that will help us to build a strong and resilient brain and reduce the risk of developing dementia. The idea of living well is compatible with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people cultural values around enhancing inner spirit and having a good life. The key factors are to grow a strong brain, strengthen protective factors, and avoid preventable risk factors. So here is a clip where we can learn about some of the things that make our brains healthy.
So let's learn about the things that make our brains healthy, and as a result, our minds, bodies, spirits, and communities strong. Exercise makes our brains strong. So what's your jam? Can you slam dunk? Do you run like the wind? Are you deadly with balls and bats? Like a bit of yoga? Or a nice early morning walk? Doesn't matter really. The moral of this story is just keep moving. Exercise is good for our brains. Our brains are soft, fatty bits of jelly inside that tough noggin of a skull, so we can injure our brains easily. Protect those heads. Wear helmets if you're riding, headgear if you're playing footy. That brain of yours is worth protecting. Some say you can't teach an old dingo new tricks, but research says that that is not true. We can learn things and keep our brains active at any age. Ever wanted to learn a musical instrument? Love a word puzzle? Like to try and smash through that 1,000-piece puzzle? Or learn a new craft? Keep learning. This makes our brains strong. Who loves big mob get-togethers? Big mob, little mob. Did you know that doing things together, building connections, yarns, games, stories, teaching, all these things are good for our brains? Another excuse for a big mob get-together, eh? As if we needed one. You can't run that troopy without clean fuel, eh? Our bodies are the same. We need good, clean fuel. Healthy foods, lots of water, and steering clear of all the things that clog the fuel lines, like grog or ciggies. Good, clean fuel is a strong brain rule. Have you heard that good old saying, prevention is better than cure? Well, that's true when it comes to our brains. Our general health can impact on our brains. So staying on top of our general health is really important. Don't put off that health check. Go see the doc, make sure everything is in good working order, and try to look after yourself. Healthy body, healthy brain.
Most of what we do in our physical lives affect the health of our brains. It is important for brain health that we keep them active. There are many ways to do this, as we have just seen in the film clip. Examples include learning new things, brain training, social connection, doing things together, protecting your brain, good nutrition, and visiting the doctor for health checks. There are a number of key risk factors that have an impact on the development of dementia. These factors include things that we may be exposed to very early on in our lives, and as well as things that occur as we get older. We're now going to hear from Dr. Kylie Radford and Professor Tony Bro on risk factors.
There are a lot of things that can affect whether or not you get dementia, and they're all called risk factors. So they're not necessarily causes of dementia, but these things we know do increase the risk of dementia in later life. So there's a number of health sort of related factors. So some people say what's good for your heart is good for your brain, and that's true. Things like cardiovascular disease and diabetes, smoking, all of these things can increase the risk of dementia in later life. So we know that things like physical activity, social activity, keeping your brain active throughout the life course is also important for lowering the risk of dementia. One of the other big factors in terms of dementia risk is things like education. So around the world, we can see that having greater access to education, staying in school longer, will lower the risk of dementia. And depression is another factor which has quite a strong link to dementia in later life. So it's important, I guess, to recognise the need for mental health and well-being as well as an important part of your overall brain health and lowering dementia risk.
Okay, well, as I've discussed with a number of my colleagues in dementia medicine, aging and dementia do not just start off in your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. If we look at aging, it's a process that is across the whole life course, and indeed it's a process that's across the whole life cycle. And the things that cause early aging, if you like, or reduced lifespan are the same risk factors, we believe, that lead to dementia in later life. So I think it's important that we take that basic philosophy that what happens across your whole life course, including your maternal, your mother's health when you were when you were not born, but when you were generated, your mother's health and your health in the womb when you're a fetus or an embryo. All of these things are important, as well as your early life and as well as your life through adult life.
So you've learnt some things about aging well by living well, and the importance of staying strong and keeping a healthy brain. Some things like historical traumas, genetics, or other social determinants happen beyond our control, but there are things that we can do that involve looking after our minds, bodies, spirits, and ultimately our brains. Can you think of examples of things that you have done, do, or could do to help yourself in growing old well? Can you identify 3 things that you will do for yourself now and into the future to keep your mind, body, and spirit strong? Think about how you will support others in your professional or personal life to help keep our mob strong. Think about some risk factors that may be around in your life or communities. Experiencing these risk factors does not mean you will develop dementia, but it gives us some ideas about how we may be able to develop protective factors. Things that can reduce ours and our next generation's risk. And what are some protective factors in these areas that could contribute to our social and emotional well-being? So if you have any questions or ideas about improving dementia care, please get in contact with our team. So for Thurl, we have Bridget Allen's details up there. And for Gallenbilla, we have Wendy Allen's details. And we'd love to have a yarn with you. Thank you.